Blake Lively just found herself in a messy situation after getting confronted in public by Justin Baldoni's fans. Yes, in broad daylight. Cameras were rolling, tensions were high, and let's just say, sis was not ready for this smoke. But the real gag? She actually apologized. But what even went down? Why are fans coming for her like this? And what exactly did she say to smooth things over? We're breaking it all down. So Blake thought she could play the entire world, but the internet does not forget. The mask has slipped, and now everybody sees right through her manipulative antics. Hollywood's washing their hands of her. Fans are boycotting like it's their full-time job, and her follower count? Dropping faster than a rapper's surprise album at midnight. Once the Golden Girl of Hollywood, Blake Lively, has officially fumbled the bag. And let's be real, she did this to herself. The so-called sweetheart is now the industry's biggest villain. And the best part? The man she tried to take down, Justin Baldoni, is out here thriving while she's taking L after L. Her reputation is literally going up in flames, and social media is torching her every move. But if there was one moment that proves she's fully spiraling, it was that Hollywood Reporter cover on February 22nd. Like, how did a simple magazine spread turn into a public dragging? The image of her launching a slingshot at Baldoni. Pure cinema. Because that's exactly what she tried to do to him, but it backfired so bad that now she's the one getting bodied from all sides. She can cry and play victim all she wants, but the numbers do not lie. Nobody's buying it anymore. At the end of the day, Hollywood can try to push their little narratives, but the fans, we run this now. And Blake? She's getting obliterated online. Since September, Sis has lost a whopping 864,000 followers. Before Baldoni pulled out the receipts, people were still sipping the Kool-Aid. But once he laid it all out, game over. People finally opened their eyes and saw the truth. This wasn't some number Me Too moment. This was just Blake Lively throwing a fit because she couldn't have her way. And let's be real, if the fans have turned on her, you know Hollywood has fully washed their hands of her. If there's one thing the industry hates, it's a diva who causes chaos on set. And Blake? Oh, she's been exposed as an absolute nightmare to work with.
You're not great. Blocked.
Yeah.
Do you block people ever?
No, I've muted some people. Now that it's a function on Twitter and Instagram, there is a couple people that I have muted.
Good.
Yeah. Blake Lively.
The studios are dropping little hints, but they ain't pulling the whole curtain back yet. You catch my drift? And best believe Blake would hate that metaphor, probably too sexist for her taste. The real kicker? She wasn't even the director of It Ends With Us, but she acted like she owned the entire production. She forced script changes, overruled the director, and completely hijacked the project like she was some discount Steven Spielberg. And get this, she had zero actual authority to do any of this. She was just an actress and an executive producer, but somehow turned the whole thing into the Blake Lively show. And the wildest part? People were too scared to call her out. Crew members, co-stars, allegedly they all kept their mouths shut because they knew if Blake didn't F with you, your career could be done. This woman spent years selling us this sweet all-American girl next door act. But behind the scenes, she was running things like a full-blown dictator. She accused Justin of harassment, but by the time the movie premiered, they weren't even speaking. She made him stay in the basement, and even Ryan Reynolds flipped on him. Then, she had the nerve to claim he was running a smear campaign against her. But guess what? Even Hollywood isn't falling for it anymore. Jenny Slate and other actresses were allegedly pressured into backing her, but even her Hollywood friends are distancing themselves. And that Hollywood Reporter cover? Oh, that was the final nail in the coffin. It wasn't just some funny illustration, it exposed her for what she really is. She wanted to spin it as but everybody saw right through her. Now, witnesses are scared to come forward because of all the alleged bullying and intimidation. And let's be real, Hollywood doesn't actually care about morality. They care about power. And when someone becomes a liability, they get tossed. And right now, Blake Lively is the biggest liability in the game. Studios don't want to touch her.
It'll be very difficult for anyone to ever work with Blake Lively ever again.
How big of a black eye did they get? Like, not how big of a black guy did he get?
Gotcha.
How big of a black
Let me tell you about that story, Pat.
What do you mean by that?
Like, meaning, how bad is this on their reputation?
Oh, on their reputations?
Ryan and Blake?
Terrible, terrible. I mean, now other footage is coming out of Blake Lively admitting, hey, when I get involved with projects, they hire me as the actress, and sometimes I don't really tell them, but I actually want to come in and I want to rewrite it, and I want to be a producer, and I want to do all of these things. She's literally admitted all of this blatantly.
It will be very difficult. Who in their right mind would hire someone who hijacks productions and throws tantrums when things don't go her way? And let's be honest, even if Justin was a little too touchy or called her sexy, that still doesn't justify this level of mess. Blake was handed everything. A dream career, a perfect Hollywood husband, industry connections, and endless PR backing. But she got too cocky. She thought she could control everything, and now she's losing everything. Justin Baldoni is out here looking like an absolute saint while Blake Lively is spiraling like a plane with no engine. The contrast is wild. Blake's throwing tantrums, burning bridges, and losing everything, while Justin, he's literally chilling in Hawaii, surfing, and living his best life. And honestly, watching Blake's meltdown is pure entertainment. Blake thought she could bully her way to a legal win, but the second Baldoni fought back, her entire case crumbled like a cheap Hollywood set. And the most embarrassing part is that she tried to delete key text messages from her lawsuit to make her case look stronger. But guess what? Baldoni kept everything. Now all her shady little edits are out in the open, and legal analysts are tearing her case apart. They're pointing out inconsistencies, contradictions, and straight-up strategic omissions. She really thought she could rewrite reality, but now she's getting exposed for the liar she is. And then there's Brian Friedman, Baldoni's lawyer, who is not here to play PR games. This man is ruthless.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history. Everything he says is self-flagellating over the fact that he's a man. But he's, to me, is sort of the embodiment of what happens when you totally emasculate a man. And then she continued, she took that stiletto and stuck it in his heart when he was down there self-flagellating, being so sorry for anything having to do with his testosterone. And so that's what happens to you, right? You run into somebody who seems like a witch who will take advantage of you and hurt you until finally even that kind of a guy rises up. Now, he didn't do it himself exactly. He hired a badass named Brian Friedman. And he has badass women like me defending him. Mm-hmm. But slowly but surely, I think the male class is learning down on the floor, squirming and apologizing for being a man is not the way.
Every move Blake makes, he's 10 steps ahead. He's shutting down her accusations, and at this point, her legal strategy is a joke. Instead of providing actual evidence, she just keeps throwing out vague accusations that mean nothing. Now, Hollywood lawyers are openly comparing this case to Johnny Depp vs. Amber Heard, but with one major difference. Blake doesn't have the public on her side, and in Hollywood, when the public turns on you, it's game over. She really thought she could weaponize the #MeToo movement, but instead, she's become the new Amber Heard. The entire internet has turned against her, and there's no coming back from that. While Blake is out here getting exposed left and right, Ryan Reynolds is scrambling to do damage control. But honestly, he's just making things worse.
Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
And there's something about this whole mess that's just unsettling. It's that feeling of thinking someone is nice, only to realize they were moving like a straight-up psychopath behind the scenes. And Ryan, he took it so far. The most embarrassing moment? The SNL 50th anniversary special. Ryan tried to joke about the situation with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, and yikes. Safe to say that joke backfired instantly. This isn't some goofy Hollywood scandal you can just laugh off. Some people did chuckle, but the majority dragged him for making light of serious accusations. It came off as tone-deaf and dismissive. And instead of shifting the heat away from Blake, he just threw more fuel on the fire. This little publicity stunt was a total flop. Ryan has spent years crafting this perfect husband image, but now the cracks are showing. At the end of the day, he's defending a woman that everybody can see is a manipulative, power-hungry liar. And now his own brand is suffering for it. And let's be real, Hollywood does not do loyalty. The second Ryan starts becoming bad for business, they're out. If he thought backing Blake was a smart move, he's going to regret it. And honestly, it's already happening. At first, some celebs tried to show support, but now they're jumping ship. Nobody wants to be caught defending a sinking career. Blake's legal case is falling apart, her PR moves aren't hitting, her own husband is taking L's back to back, and Hollywood is done with her. She thought she could manipulate the narrative, but now she's just getting exposed over and over and over again. At this point, they're both radioactive. One minute, Blake is crying about being a victim of serious harassment, and the next, she and Ryan are joking about it on SNL. The tonal whiplash is insane, and nobody wants to be associated with it. Here's the thing. The more Blake acts desperate, the more powerful and mature Baldoni looks. He hasn't engaged in drama, he hasn't played the PR game, and he hasn't whined to the press. He's just sat back and watched as the truth exposed itself. And now Hollywood is rallying behind him. People now see him for what he really is, a guy who was manipulated, lied about, and almost had his career destroyed by one of Hollywood's most powerful couples. Let's not forget how Blake and Ryan tried to completely isolate him. They pushed him out of his own movie's marketing, kept him out of promotions, and made sure he wasn't even part of this press cycle for a film he co-produced. They tried to erase him, humiliate him, and convince the world he was some creepy, inappropriate co-star. But now, the tables have turned. She wrested his movie away from him and tried to hurt him with petty, made-up, out-of-context complaints. And when he pushed back, even in the mildest way, Blake thought she could control the narrative. But Baldoni's silence has spoken louder than anything she's tried to pull, and now Hollywood sees her for what she is: a manipulative, power-hungry actress who destroyed her own career out of pure arrogance. Meanwhile, Baldoni's future in Hollywood looks stronger than ever. Studios aren't blacklisting him, directors aren't running from him, and he's coming out of this looking like a composed, respected professional. But here's the truth: Hollywood doesn't care about morality, ethics, or even justice. Hollywood cares about money and reputation. And right now, Blake Lively is officially the biggest liability in the industry. No studio wants to work with an actress who hijacks productions, throws tantrums when she doesn't get her way, and plays the victim when things go south. Studios are watching everything unfold, and the message is clear. Hiring Blake Lively is a financial and PR nightmare. She once said she wanted to be part of the storytelling through writing, costume design, and character creation.
Sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to fulfill. I think it's about being upfront about like knowing what you actually need versus just like trying to get the job. And then, you know, once you're in it, sort of revealing the scope of your sort of needs to be, you know.
Sometimes, some directors welcomed it while others resented it. But instead of earning that creative influence, she just took it. And now, industry insiders are reevaluating their involvement with her. Some of her upcoming projects are quietly being delayed or shelved entirely. And the worst part, she doesn't even realize what she's admitting. She outright said she would lie in auditions, pretend to be just an actress, and then take over the production. She was supposed to be the star of It Ends With Us, but instead, she turned it into the biggest disaster of her career. Her reputation as a control freak is now fully documented, and no Hollywood executive is dumb enough to ignore that. Hollywood runs on connections, and for years Blake and Ryan were at the top of the A-list social circle. But now, people are backing away. Nobody wants to be associated with a sinking ship. And right now, Blake's career is going down faster than the Titanic. Her PR disaster is getting worse by the day, and Hollywood elites are treating her like a toxic brand nobody wants to touch. And let's be real, if Taylor Swift, one of her closest celebrity friends, is staying silent on this, you know it's bad. Blake isn't just losing fans. She's losing Hollywood itself. She thought she could manipulate the industry and social media, but now the tables have turned and she's the one being exposed. She spent years crafting the perfect PR image, the stylish, charming actress with the perfect marriage to Ryan Reynolds, the down-to-earth Hollywood sweetheart. But it was all fake, and even now, it's still not enough for her. She didn't want Justin at the premiere, fine. But making him hide in the basement when she arrived? That's not authorship. That's not autonomy. That's control, selfishness, entitlement. This woman is a monster. Her PR stunts have completely backfired, and she's losing support from both fans and industry insiders. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni is coming out of this as the hero, the man who was unfairly attacked, bullied, and thrown under the bus, only for the truth to finally come out. He never had to scream about injustice. He never had to beg for sympathy. He just let Blake self-destruct, and she did exactly that. Hollywood has no patience for manipulative, controlling actors. And if there's one thing that's been made crystal clear in this scandal, it's that Blake Lively is one of the worst. She could have taken accountability. She could have stayed silent. She could have handled this like a professional. But instead, she played the victim, doubled down on her lies, and threw herself into full-on crisis mode. Hollywood doesn't have room for actors like her anymore. And if she still thinks she can manipulate her way out of this, she's in for a rude awakening, because the truth is finally out, and nobody is coming to save her. At the end of the day, Justin doesn't need PR games. He has the truth, and that's why he's winning, while Blake Lively is watching her career burn right in front of her eyes. There is no record of Blake Lively apologizing to Justin Baldoni, because she never did. The two have been locked in a messy legal battle, throwing lawsuits at each other like it's a sport. Justin did drop a lengthy voice note apologizing to Blake before things got ugly, specifically over his reaction to her script changes during It Ends With Us. But after that, the drama only escalated. Since then, there's been no reported apology from Blake, no olive branch, and definitely no resolution. Just more tension, legal fights, and industry whispers. But as we've said, Blake Lively's Hollywood reign is crumbling. And at this point, it's only a matter of time before she's completely done. Stay tuned, because this drama is far from over. Let us know what you think about this one down below.